Unusual candidate. We hear about dormitory commutes, but you're rather different.
Yeah, I'm Michael Ryan. I'm standing as a, an independent candidate in Dublin Midwest, where I'm from. But I actually work in London, and I decided to stand because, first of all, when it came down to when I was going to vote on Friday, I would have had to take the day off, fly home, incur the expense and so on. So I was wondering why Irish people abroad can't actually vote from where they are. The other thing as well, we heard an awful lot of the concept of Diaspora in terms of how we can actually contribute to and solve some of Ireland's problems. So there's very good challenges that I've heard so far to whether you should be an independent candidate or not. But Ireland has 3 to 4 million people beyond its shores that it can tap into. Now, it has tried this in the past in terms of the Farm League conference that I had and so on. We have extremely successful and talented people abroad. And you need to be able to encourage them to latch into Ireland and be involved with it.
Yeah, but a lot of people have a problem with the notion that you get a vote maybe, but you live abroad, you pay your tax to David Cameron, not to Kildare Street, you pay your tax to Barack Obama, not to us, and yet you want to vote. Do you know,
well,
let me
put it to you like this. I can only speak for myself. I've emigrated for the last 20 years. I actually see what's happened to the country, and I'd like to have a degree of input into it. If you do this and you offer the vote to the people who are abroad, you should quite reasonably ask for something in return. I'd be quite happy to contribute to a fund for Ireland off the back of, okay, so my taxes do go to the Exchequer. But I was educated here, and the Irish people effectively pay for it.
Would you be prepared to pay 52% tax for the privilege of your vote?
I'll tell you what I would actually be prepared to do. Every month I throw away a percentage of my salary on making contributions to charities and so on. And an awful lot of people probably do that. I'd actually do that to a fund for Ireland so that future generations of Irish people do not have to emigrate.
All right, we certainly need charity. The kindness of friends, I think, is how one economist...
one last point I'd like to make. There's a chap who set up the ballotbox.ie website to prove the extent to which Irish people are interested. That man had in excess of 100,000 hits to his website. There are Irish people living abroad with a passport who care about what's going on here, want to be involved, and you need to give them a mechanism to enable them to do that.
All right, we'd have to hope that they inform themselves well enough.
Well, to be honest with you, in this day and age, with the use of the internet and so on, everybody can be informed enough in order to know what the issues are at a national level.
Sure. Okay, Paula, you were away and you have returned, is that so?
I'm actually a returned emigrant. I got a job in Ireland last month, and I just want to echo what Michael was saying there. As much as it's great to be home, I was based in London myself, and I've had to keep my UK SIM card and my UK bank account because I don't know if I'll have my job come a year's time. And for an awful lot of young people, there's no job security in Ireland at all. So you have to be very open to moving. And I agree with him. You were saying, just because you're paying your tax to David Cameron, you shouldn't have a vote.
That's a question, not a statement.
But that isn't a choice for people like me. If we have to leave, it's not because we want to. It's not because we don't love our country. It's not because we don't care about our country. It's because that's what's happened because the system has failed. And I think it's so important that young, talented people who've had to go to Sydney, New York, London, all over, they should absolutely have an input and a say in how our country's governed, and they should definitely have a say in how our country's reformed. And the one thing that's given me hope on our return to Ireland is the fact that the reform agenda is finally getting the attention it deserves.
Well, all the main parties have offered some sort of platforms, but as someone reminded us here a few minutes ago, it'll require great debate on constitutional referendum or referenda, perhaps, even to get it right.
It's also going to involve an awful lot of citizens putting pressure on the politicians to make sure that their reform promises don't just stay in the manifestos, but that our system's actually completely transformed.
And presumably that'll be a job for the opposition, whatever its constitution, keep the pressure on the parties in government.
But it's also a job for us people too.
Okay. Madeleine, you are running